I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. Hey, what?
Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Mikel, the entrepreneur from ECG Graphics and Printing. I am the owner of ECG Graphics and Printing, so I do a lot of graphics. I have about 15 to 17 years of experience working in Photoshop, so I'm really excited to do this first video. I normally don't do tutorials on Photoshop, but I thought I would share it with you guys. So if you're interested in getting other video like this, please drop a comment down below. Let me know what you guys are looking into, either if you're trying to put together some stuff for your own business, or you're a graphic designer trying to start your own graphic business. I'm happy to have you here. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to be showing you guys a quick little, really somewhat of a tutorial, but really I'm just going to be showing you guys how I would create a basic invite, and this invite is going to be for my daughter. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go and name and basically create a new project. I'm going to name it, and then the next thing that you want to do is you want to go in and put your width, your height, resolution is at 350 dpi. And then I'm just gonna make this a dark background because I don't want to have to go in and make the background black later. So I'm gonna make it black. So these are the basic settings that I use, and I'm just gonna click OK. So now it started giving me a black background. So that's one thing that I don't have to do. So if you guys want to know the basics of Photoshop, please drop a comment down below. I don't mind doing a video on just the basics of it and how to navigate it and things like that. I'm really gonna be doing this video from the perspective of someone that already knows about Photoshop. I'm not going to be doing it from someone that doesn't know anything. So if you're interested in learning more about Photoshop, like I said, drop a comment down below and I will do a video of the basics. So something that you do want to do as a graphic designer, you want to do your research. You want to go and find some inspiration, find some things that are out there. Now there are some laws and obviously copyrights when it comes to using other people's artwork, so please be aware of that, especially with like fonts and things like that. So I like to use thefont.com, and I do pay the artist because sometimes you just have to, the terms of use, that's something that you really want to look out for. And as a fellow artist, you want to make sure you're supporting those artists. So before I started this video, I went online and I found the artwork that I wanted. So I found, and I'm going to drop it in right now. So I found this scenery of a theater, and then I found this crudes because we're going to be doing a birthday party for my daughter. It's COVID and we're renting out the whole theater, so it's going to be really fun. So the first thing I want to do is I want to rasterize all of the images that I dropped in. And now I'm going to be working with them individually. I rasterize them so that I can, fully manipulate them to my liking. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start from the back all the way out. So Photoshop is a layered program, so I deal with things in layers. So I situated the back. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just dropping it down a little bit because I want to have some space up top, because I know my vision in my head, I want to put some text at the top, so I want enough space for that. Now what I'm doing is I'm putting on a layer mask. I'm using my gradient tool, and I want to fade out that bottom so it's not so harsh. Well, first I'm gonna fade the top. So I'm fading the top so that it has that nice blend, and then now I'm gonna fade out the bottom. And this way, I mean, I could do it, there's different ways I can do it, but this way in particular, I just like it the best. So I'm basically creating a shape, and then I'm gonna make it the color of the bottom, which is the black of the bottom, and then I'm going to bring it up into the image. Let me get rid of that stroke. I do that by just getting rid of the stroke. And then now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to create a layer mask. Sorry, messing up a little bit. Let me delete that. I'm going to create a layer mask. I'm going to go select the gradient tool, and then now I am going to fade. So I'm going to keep fading it until I get what I want. I really want that harsh line to be gone. So I'm starting to get there. There it goes. It's starting to look better. And I like that. That actually looks pretty good. Let me do it one more time. Ugh. No, I don't like that. So I'm going to go back. Yeah, that's the one that I liked. Nope, that's one. Yeah, so I like the way that looked. So now you see it kind of just fades into the black, which is a perfect canvas for me to start adding everything else. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to drop this because I want this to look like it's actually being projected onto the screen. So the trick that I like to do is I'm going to make it bigger than the canvas. Yeah, so it's about right. It's a little bit, yeah, it's about, obviously it's off because the screen is not the same size and dimensions, but I'm going to drop the opacity of it so I can see behind it. And what I'm basically going to do is I am going to overlay, because I want it to be the exact shape of the screen. So I'm basically going to put a layer. I'm going to put a mask essentially of the artwork or that crude's poster into the actual screen. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. So I'm just positioning it the way that I want, and now I'm going to go in and I'm just going to do a basic outline of the screen. So I'm going to click in all corners using the lasso tool, and this is going to allow for me to basically create a layer mask, and I can drop the image right inside of it and it's not going to spill over. It's literally going to create like somewhat like a window of, you know, the space that I want it to be. So now that I have that, I am going to create another layer using that shape, and I'm going to make it green. It's kind of weird, a green screen, but I'm just going to make it green just so it stands out. I'm going to use the gradient tool. Sorry, I have to click on the right layer, and I'm going to make it green. So now it's there. I just want to be able to see it. So now I know that that's the actual layer. And now what I'm going to do is so now I can see it, and now I'm going to attach it. So now you'll see when I make this big, you see how it stays inside of that green screen. So that's the cool thing about, you know, layering it on top. I'm not really sure the proper term, but that's what it is. So I can already see right now the position of it. I'm gonna have to get rid of that logo up top where it says the Crudes 2. So I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna do that. So I like the position of it. I like the way it looks. I just have to get rid of that 2. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the color of the background. I'm gonna get the paint tool, and I'm just gonna erase as much as I can. Be careful around the shape of Grug, I think that's his name. And I'm just gonna just basically erase all of that. And now what I'm gonna do, you see the top of his head looks a little funny. So I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna draw his hair on. So you guys will see how I do that. So let me zoom in. So I'm just gonna outline. The way that I erased his hair was kind of in the shape that I would want his hair to be. So I'm just making a basic shape. There's maybe a couple things that I'm gonna do to make this look good, but I mean, this is not a easy technique, but I'm just showing you guys. You may come across something like this, I'm not sure. But so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find the brightest color, and I'm trying to find a brush that's not as harsh. Yeah, so I like that. So I'm just kind of, it's a little bit of a texture. So I'm using the brightest color that's in his hair texture. And now I'm going to use a little bit of the darker. And I'm going to sprinkle that down in there. Make a little, you know, try to fade it in certain spots. And then I'm going to zoom out to see kind of what it looks like. Looks like it has a little flat top, but these are small details that you're really not going to notice once it's actually like printed. But I do want to go in and I want to, you can see the difference between like the texture. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to play with the smudge tool. Yeah, let's do that. So I'm just going to smudge. Yeah, there we go. I like that. But it's a little too harsh. So let me take the opacity down a little bit so it's not doing it as much. There we go. So I'm still keeping that texture, but I'm just literally just, it's like if I'm taking my finger, and if you guys have ever used like oil pastel, I'm just literally just doing it like that. So I'm getting rid of all of that. So I mean, so zooming in this much, it's a little pixelated, so I'm just kind of mimicking that pixelation look. But I mean, once I zoom out, you're not even gonna tell that I did any of this. So there we go. Just finishing up a little bit. So now I'm gonna zoom out, and you can barely even tell. It kind of looks like his hair. I'm not sure what he looks like normally. I could have used a reference and made it spot on, but it's not that serious. we're going to be sending this out to like 20 people, so it's not that big of a deal. So now I'm going to be putting in that header. And when you're doing graphic design, you want people read from left to right and also from top to bottom. Obviously you have like a focal point, and in this, just looking at it, you're gonna see the crudes. So obviously, like just the way that it's designed, you're gonna see that. But also at the top, I want it to be I'm gonna put you're invited, so they know like, oh my gosh, I'm invited to something. So that is like graphic design 101. You like to draw people's eyes to what you want them to read. So right now the color's ugly, it's blending in, and that's not what I want. So I'm actually going to change this color, double clicking, and I'm just going to change the text color to white because I want it to really contrast that black background. Let me click out. Oh, it didn't change. Double click it again. Come on, there we go. Double clicked it, and now I'm going to hit white. There we go. Booyah. Okay, so now I just need to center it off a little bit. But so now you'll see it says you're invited. Yeah, let me center it off. I'm gonna position it. There we go. So you see those lines, that purple line, let me know that it's in the center of the document. I'm gonna nudge it up just a little bit using my arrows, and that's how I want it. So now it says you're invited, and then I want it to continue to say Phoenix's Crudes 2. First I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep the text uniform between what's up top, and I'm gonna put Phoenix's name. Just be careful, you'll see in this font it didn't have an apostrophe. So a lot of the fonts that you get off, the font or any other website like fonts.com, sometimes it doesn't have like those extra characters. So you have to be a little resourceful, for lack of a better term. So sometimes I use other fonts that have the apostrophe and the other symbols to get what I want. So now I'm just going through and I'm searching and finding the one that I want. And for me, I love bold. Oh, it depends honestly, but I'm gonna find something that really stands out against the top. I know I said earlier I was gonna make them both the same, but I don't know. Let me just play around and see if I can find something that's similar but still stands out. I'm kind of trying to find something that looks like the Crude logo just a little bit. I'm not gonna make it exactly like the logo, but I do want it to be bold like that logo. So one thing about Photoshop is you'll see it has like the samples in there. Sometimes I just kind of skim. If I know the name of the font that I'm looking for, it's just fast for me to do it this way. So I'm just kind of looking to see which one I want. Ooh, I kind of like that one. I think that might be the one. But let me just check, double check. Make sure there's nothing else that catches my eye. Yeah, no. I'm just gonna go with that one that I got. Oh my gosh, QNAP. Sorry, that's my DAS unit that I use to back up all my work. Sometimes it's a little weird, but I love it. I'm actually gonna do a video on that so you guys can see that. Oh, there it goes. Okay, yeah, I like this one. I don't like the one with the line in the middle. That one's ugly. Well, not ugly, just not meant for this setup. Okay, so now this is the font that I'm digging. I think I'm gonna use this one. Okay, so I'm just gonna nudge this up a little bit. It was kind of annoying me. Now that I don't have the logo, I'm just gonna really make the characters dominate that screen. So now I'm gonna drop in a logo, and one of the biggest tips that I can give you when it comes to graphics is you wanna have high resolution everything. You wanna work with vector files as much as possible. But you'll see once I zoom in on this Cruise logo, it is crispy, like crispy. So I'm trying to figure out where I want to put it. Well, let me see if it looks good right here. I'm gonna mess around with it real quick. I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna look good here. I might end up putting it on the bottom, but I'm gonna drop some shadows on it, some effects, and see if I can get it to look the way that I want it to on the screen. So right now I'm just gonna be doing a little bit of cleaning up the layers. I like to make sure my layers are clean, so I'm creating groups because now I'm kind of stacking a lot in here. There's a lot of layers that are being created. That should be pretty fine. Okay. So the one thing about graphics is you can play around with the way that you position the text and you position things, because oftentimes like I get great ideas from a mistake. You know, like I drop a layer over something, I'm like, oh my gosh, that actually looks pretty good. And you'll see like I keep zooming in and out, because the overall goal is for you to see what your audience or what the customer is going to be seeing. So I'm zooming out frequently, just kind of just checking things out to see how it reads. And it reads, "You're invited to the Crude's A New Age Phoenixes." So I don't know, doesn't read all that well to me. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just messing around with the shadows. I'm trying to get the phoenix, or get the word phoenix to kind of stand out, have some depth to it, especially with the shadows of the chairs and things like that. Like I just wanted to kind of stand out and pop a little bit more. So I'm kind of centering it off, seeing how it looks. Okay, so I didn't really like that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to move it down here, and I'm going to center that off. I'm thinking that I'm going to make this kind of the focal point, and then have Phoenix, because it's kind of like self-explanatory. Like when you see the movie theater, it's like, you know that that's happening. And then I'm going to make phoenixes be more of like, I mean, the subtitle kind of a thing. So you now it's reading, "You're invited to Phoenixes, the Crude's to A New Age," and then I feel like it's missing the whole party at the movies. I think that's what I'm gonna say. So birthday at the movies. Okay, so I like that. And now I'm going to make it a little bigger. It's all about proximity, guys, when you're designing stuff. Like sometimes like just moving something a little bit closer to like another word or text, sometimes people associate it so they read it together. It's kind of hard to explain, but you'll start noticing things like when you're picking up magazines or picking up newspapers, you'll see how a graphic designer's artistic perspective kind of guides you through, you know, whatever information is on that document. Like they make things bold. It's like the colors, like right now if you're just looking at this, you see the Cruise 2 and you automatically know like, oh, movies, right? And then you see like, oh, you're invited to, oh, Phoenix's birthday party. So like Phoenix and party at the movie, like those words are the same color, so you kind of associate those two together. So if someone just glancing at it, they can read those things. And then, you know, it's just weird. It's weird. As a graphic designer, you design based off of multiple different perspectives to make sure like you are relaying the proper marketing. So now I'm just going to be putting in some placeholders. I apologize. I'm making them a little bit lighter, like or not lighter, but I'm making them not as bold, because I want them to not be the focal point. I mean, I want them to stand out, obviously, because it's going to be the details. But really, I just want people to know, like, oh, it's Phoenix's birthday at the movies. And then they'll look under that to see. But when I am designing for someone or for a company or for an individual or whatever, if I don't have a lot of those details, I still like to design the placeholders of the information that I think is important, so that the client, when they see the initial proof, they kind of can see where my ideas are for where the rest of the information is going to go. And it also helps when I'm having those conversations, because sometimes I've had customers where they have so much information that they want to go on there. Sometimes it just doesn't look right. And at the end of the day, it's totally up to the customer. Like if they want to have a busy flyer or postcard, it's up to them. I can just offer my advice and say, hey, like I think you should kind of make it as simple as possible, and then if people have questions, they can always contact you. But sometimes, like I said, it's up to the customer, and you as a graphic designer just really have to figure out how to make it work. But yeah, so this is going to be the basic design. I'm just going to kind of go in and nudge things together and just kind of look at, you know, how close things are to each other, and just kind of fine tune that. But for the most part, this is pretty much it. So when I save this, you want to make sure, so I have a backup. So I have my DAS unit or DAS unit, and this is where I back up all of my work. So I make sure it's what I want. It's a PSD, which is a Photoshop document. And then if I was sending this out to my customer, I would actually save it as a JPEG, and I would, watermark my logo over it, just so that, they can't use it and take it, because this is a high res JPEG, so they can take that JPEG and go get it printed somewhere. You don't want that to happen, because I've had that happen. You want to make sure you drop it down, the resolution, if you are sending it out as a proof. But other than that, I appreciate you guys hanging around for the time that you did. If you guys want more videos like this, please consider subscribing to my channel. Also, drop a comment down below for the videos that you want to see. If you're thinking about starting, managing, or growing your business or your side hustle, please also check out some of my other playlists where I give tips and tricks on how to grow your side hustle. So thank you guys for tuning in. On the screen, there's a video that I think you should check out. I'll see you in that video.